If you're in the contracting space, subcontractor, general contractor, or even home services, and you're doing projects, one of the things you've probably heard about is overhead. And it may not be something you fully understand, but you need to, and I'm going to explain why. I built this little tool that helps us kind of look at what your overhead rate is based on a couple components. One is the overhead items that you have, right? So these are the costs you have just because you have a business. General liability insurance, you have to have insurance whether or not you turn on the lights that day or even go to work. Rent, if you have a yard or an office or both, you're paying that, right? And that clock is running no matter what you do. Maybe you have a CRM, right? Like, and you're keeping track of your leads and your clients, their Facebook marketing, something like that, right? With this example, what it's telling us is our annual overhead is $10,500. What we can do is then go and load in our direct costs. So this is going to be materials, labor, if we're subbing things out, the cost to do the actual work, right? That we can tie directly to actually doing work. So if you're a plumber, this is going to be all the supplies you need. When you go to the supply house, everything you buy there, your direct labor, the people you're paying to do the plumbing, right? So that's all going to be there. What that's telling us is with just this example, right? It's annualizing these, right? You obviously would be better to build it all out, but this is just a small data set. So let's say you get to a bid and you're thinking it's going to cost $12,500 and you want to make roughly 20% on this job. So what you do is it's telling us, okay, we have the bid amount here. This number up here, this 8.3%, is basically saying if I divide all my overhead by all my annual direct costs, I come up with 8.3%. And basically what we want to do is share this load across all the projects and clients that we have. Because you exist, because they exist, and because you exist, you have to pay these costs. So we're going to pass those on to the client. Basically what's happening here is every time you don't include overhead, you're giving them, in this example, an 8.3% discount on the work that you're doing and the costs that you're incurring as a contractor to do it. So what it does is it says, okay, you think it costs $12,500, we're going to add 8.3% of that, comes up to $13,500, and then with 20% profit, it's another $2,700. So this job really should be $16,250. So the beauty of all this is, in the short term, you can understand what's going on with your overhead and how much you should be charging. And if you're thinking between the lines here, what this tells you is this number is going to change based on how much overhead you're carrying and what your direct costs are. And the bigger this number gets, the smaller this number gets. So each client, each project supports less and less because there's more of them, right? So there's an incentive to grow here because that means you're charging less overhead per project or per client. But if this is something you need help wrangling in, let us know. We'd be happy to dive in and talk about this and get you all the tools you need and a calculator. That way you can decide what this percentage should be and stop discounting by 8.3% or who knows how much.